The demon in Adam Lanza and God's clear warning to all of us. I saw the most fascinating write-up about Adam Lanza, and he's been gone long enough that I guess I'll use his name. It's been my tradition to not use names of people like this because they so often want to be celebrated. Adam Lanza was the guy who went to unalive a whole series of kids at Sandy Hook. And as you know, if you've listened to the show or watched it for any period of time, I lost a friendship through this, which is the least of the losses. People lost their kids, parents lost their kids, and loved ones lost adults. So I lost a friend because of this, because his mom was there at Sandy Hook, and his mom sheltered her students with her body because that's who she is. So it means something to me to learn something about Adam Lanza that I didn't know. It's also indicative of the fact that we have some very, very clear warnings from God that we should follow. It has gone unnoticed, says this write-up about Adam Lanza, that he practiced some things that have its origin in what some people want to call the far left. I would call it the far satanic. He was an antinatalist. That means that was against having more human beings on the planet, that it was a moral sin to have more kids. He also expressed a strong interest in sexual images of children. He was dehumanizing because maybe he was dehumanized. So Adam Lanza wrote about these things, and then more importantly, he recorded these things. He talked about his belief, and I never knew this. There was a PhD named Peter Langman who looked into the beliefs of this guy and what probably led to what he decided to do in these schools. This is a warning for us and a warning I want to get into. I have a warning for you about the U.S. healthcare system. It doesn't always mean you well. Sometimes it's just flat con jobs. For instance, you might be told that I'm insane to travel to Mexico to go get stem cell treatment for my shoulder, my ankle, my back. But what am I actually getting? Well, let's compare. In the United States, if I'd gone and gotten stem cell treatments for my back because I want to continue to lift weights and do CrossFit, etc., and I was sick of the clicking and the shifting and the pain, here's what would have happened. Someone would have taken out of a freezer some stem cells from whoever that had been in the freezer however long, not tested for potency before they're put in my body, certainly not in a biocontainment lab, and then I'd be injected with them, and then good luck. Good luck. In Mexico, when I go to Renew Healthcare, I'm getting stem cells that are a result of 90% of the stem cells being rejected, the very best stem cells being cultured so there's more of them. Every stem cell comes from patients that the people at Renew get to know because they pay for their childbirth. They monitor the birth of the mother, or the health of the mother and the baby during and after pregnancy. They get to know them. And then the stem cells are used. The morning of the injection, they are checked for potency and purity, and then they're put in my body, and then I go into a hyperbaric chamber. I get some IVs they prescribe for me, back into the hyperbaric chamber, some more IVs. They do this all predicated upon who I am. So whether it's the fact that you can't use your hands anymore, guess what? I know of a guy who used his hands the next day after the stem cells. Maybe it's neurological, traumatic brain injuries. Renew has had fantastic results helping people with traumatic brain injuries, people who are hemispherically paralyzed, people who have ED. Stem cells are that potent because they're building cells. That's what they do. Don't listen to what the corrupt American medical officials sometimes tell you. Check Renew out for yourself. It's Renew, RENUE.healthcare. That's Renew Healthcare, RENUE.healthcare. Please tell them you're part of the Todd Herman Show family. In 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 8 through 9, we read this: Be alert and sober of mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kinds of sufferings. So he's prowling around. One of the things I believe Satan does is he uses isolation. And in isolating people, he uses their intelligence against them. Adam Lanza had a pretty screwed up line of thought, but he was also a pretty intelligent kid. In September 2021, this PhD, Peter Langman, Adam Lanza's YouTube channel, Cultural Philistine, was discovered. Through the recordings on this channel, we've been referenced in videos that contain only audio. The document contains the transcripts of the recordings. Screenshots of the YouTube pages are included as an appendix. This transcript attempts to preserve as far as possible the idiosyncratic way Lanza spoke, including stutters, repetitions, mispronunciations, and so on. The punctuation reflects his cadence. In some of these recordings, Lanza reads from his own essay on pedophilia, available at a website I don't want you to go to, but it's there. It's just information on these events, but why spend the time? Online quizzes and other works. It's not always clear when he's reading as opposed to speaking extemporaneously. So what was he speaking about? He's speaking about a belief structure, antinatalism. This is a belief that fewer people should exist. Compare this against God. Be fruitful and multiply. Antinatalism is anti-God, particularly anti the Christian God. In a video description called My Antinatalism, or rather basically how I ended up at it, well, this doesn't actually have anything to do with antinatalism, but whatever. He said this: I didn't understand this when I was younger, but I always had an immense hatred for culture. I consider culture to be delusional values which humans mindlessly coerce onto each other, spreading it no differently than any other disease. I previously sought to eliminate my cultural values to the greatest extent that I could. Through this, I expected to gradually discover values of an inner self, which could be reconciled with this society, so that I can engage in activities and pursue goals which would lead to happiness. Pause. Terribly disturbed. And here he wanted his internal God to guide him to happiness as he sat alone in a basement, thinking of things like this, isolated, researching, finding a reason for his hatred. God so loved the world that he sent his only son. Satan feels what about the human race? He hates our bodies. He hates that we're made in God's image. He hates that God put us above him. He hates. We are warned that the devil is roaming about. Do you think the devil found Adam Lanza? Antinatalism at light speed. This is Adam Lanza begging to see fewer people living at light speed, or rather, activist antinatalism, Efilism, evaluism. Yeah, these words are so hard to pronounce. Efilism, values backwards, life backwards, antinatalism, to be against birth. Call it whatever you want. The point is there's no need to even bring suffering into the picture, because even eternal utopia doesn't change what the good and the good are, the good capitalized, the good lowercase. I should have elaborated on what I meant by this video, but it was at light speed. This is directed toward the people who say things like extinction, but without humans, there'll be no art, there'll be no nobility, there'll be no kindness, there will be no goodness. Well, there'd be God without humans. He's making of himself a God, able to go make life and death decisions through hatred of humankind. And we don't believe this was spiritual. Efilism comes from life spelled backwards. It's notable it was the ideology of antinatalist Palm Spring Fertility Clinic Bonner in May of 2025. Did you know that? I didn't. The larger antinatalist movement, which believes all procreation is unethical, has a group of 232,000 members on Reddit. Efilism, the ideology behind the Palm Springs bombing, has spread online for years, been spread online for years. The Intercept looked at this. What is Efilism? The obscure antinatalist ideology of the Palm Springs bomber. This stuff is spreading, social contagion, behind the scenes. It's spreading beneath the view of parents and pastors, and it is clearly spreading through darkness. Satan operates in the dark, for God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. Light and dark cannot partner. More from Adam Lanza. I don't think there should be any age of consent. And since no matter what I say, everyone will accuse me of just wanting to justify some latent pedophilia I allegedly have, I will only say that you need to be attracted to prepubescents to be considered a pedophile. A 50-year-old who's attracted to a prepubescent 12-year-old is not a pedophile. A 16-year-old who's attracted to an 8-year-old is a pedophile. Confused minds looking to justify hatred and avarice and perverse lusts. What does this sound like? This sounds like a person who wasn't flirting with hell, but who was in it. When we examine things like this and we examine where he was at in terms of his own sexuality, we also notice this, that he was confused about gender. He was confused. We go back to the warning that God gave us, the warning that he issued to us about who Satan is and what Satan wants to do. And this is 1 Peter again, chapter 5, verses 8 through 9. Be alert and sober of mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the faith of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of suffering. So why would I warn us when Adam Lanza is available as an example? Because bit by bit, step by step, Satan seeks to move us down the line of antinatalism. Abortion used to be safe and rare. Now people shout it. Unaliving people in Canada through euthanasia used to be something where someone was going to die in the next few weeks very painfully. Then it was the next few months. Then it was the next few years. Then the pain quotient was removed. Now it can be because you're overweight and you don't think you'll ever lose weight, or you're depressed and sad. Bit by bit by bit, Satan takes people and moves them into being antinatalists, and they don't even notice. Adam Lanza called himself an activist antinatalist. By his own hand, he went out unalived. All too many of us simply pass that on through money laundering, as the state does it for us. I don't know that God is going to come to us and say, well, at least you didn't do it as an activist. I'm not comparing you to Adam Lanza. I'm asking us to look with very, very clear eyes at the devil prowling around, looking to devour, and look at the systems he's set up, systems into which we are often forced to pay.